Hey, this is Joe with SoFly, and in this video, we are going to export WooCommerce orders to CSV using WP All Export. So to get started, we'll go down here to All Export and select New Export. And then from the pull down, we will click WooCommerce Orders. And if we wanted to, we could filter our orders over here. So we have 5,700, and we could, if we wanted to, for example, just export orders within the last month or orders that have a certain product attached to them, whatever we need. In this case, we're just going to export all of them, and we will customize our export file. And this is where we drag and drop to set up our export. By default, we get these three fields, and if we want to, we can rearrange them like that. We can click over here, and then we could just change the column name. And you can see it's that easy to just drag and drop to set up what it is you want to export. If I want to remove these, I don't really need the key, I don't really need the title. But I have more order data over here that I can drag over. So let's put in our order date. And how about our order total? Let's see what that looks like. All right, looks pretty good. We have the time in here. Let's see if we can remove the time from my order date. So we'll go in here, and you can see that we just have this field over here. We're just using the date format. So we can use any standard PHP date format and just put it right in there, save it, check it out, and now we have the preferred date format for me. Over here, we have more stuff we can drag in. So we have our customer data, like billing first name, billing last name. And let's say I wanted to put these into their own field, right? Where it's just name, where it has the first name and then the last name. So the way we do that is go down here to add field, and then we select custom export field. Over here, we'll drag in our first name and our last name. And then we'll just go put a space between those, and we'll just call this field name. And we'll save that. And we'll drag these out. And there it is. So now let's say that I have some more customer data over here I can drag in. If I wanted, I have also the item data. So this is all of the things that the customer purchased. And this is all of all the product data and everything else like that is all accessible, like the product attributes, like the size and the color. We have the SKU, etc. So let's see how that looks. Looks pretty good, right? Now you'll notice that we have our two orders here. These are the same order on two different lines. That's because this order has two products that were added to it. So what we can do is we can go down here to advanced options, and then we can choose to disable this, fill in empty columns. So now it's a little bit more clear, right? So this order has these two products. If I wanted to, I can disable this. And now you'll see each order is on its own row, and then we have just different columns for the different products, right? Totally up to you. Now down here in our advanced options, we also have our separator. So a CSV is it's a file. And every column, it's a spreadsheet, every column is separated with commas. And that separator, we can change that over here. So I could make it tabs, I can make it whatever I want. So we'll leave it with the default CSV. We'll leave it for commas for now. And then down here in our export time, by default, we have a CSV for our CSV export. We can also export to Excel. Now, a CSV is a spreadsheet file. Excel can open it, Numbers can open it, Google Sheets can open a CSV. CSVs are openable by everything. So they're a pretty common, probably the most common spreadsheet file out there. We also have our XML settings over here. If you're interested in exporting to XML, check out the description below. We have links to our other videos on XML exports. In this case, we're covering CSVs. So this is a CSV export. So we'll leave that as it is, and we will continue. Then over here, we have our scheduling options. With automatic scheduling, this is a paid service from us. It costs $9 a month, and you just point and click to set up when you want your export to run. So this would run every Monday at midnight, Bangkok time. I can have it run once a month on the first Monday of the month and whatever I need, right? I can also set this up with manual scheduling. This does not require an additional subscription, and you just set up cron jobs to run. And we have some documentation on how that works here, and we also have some videos on our channel for setting up cron jobs. In this case, I don't need a schedule, so we'll just leave that. And then over here, we have our advanced options for the export. We have here real-time exports. So if we select this, what will happen is every time a new order is completed, this export is going to run and it's going to do whatever we set it up to do. If, for example, we set this up with Zapier, then we could set it up so that every time we get a new order, an email is sent via Zapier or an HTTP post request is sent somewhere with Zapier. Zapier has a ton of integrations, super powerful. And with this feature here, WPL export can do a lot of really interesting stuff. You can also do it a little bit more manually, only export orders once. So every time this export is run, what's going to happen is only the new orders that were added since the last time it ran are going to be included in that export. So yeah, pretty useful if you need to do something like that. And then down here we have allow non-admins to run this in client mode. So the way client mode works is, let's say you needed to have your editors or something come into your site and run an export. You can't give them access to WPL export unless they're an admin, right? Because with WPL export, you can run custom functions, you can write PHP, you can do all sorts of stuff that you don't want a non-admin to do because they can just make themselves an admin. So with client mode, you can set it up so that non-admins have access to a limited version of WPL export, and they can just go in and run exports that you've said that they are allowed to run. Pretty useful if you have to give access to non-admins. All right, so that's our advanced options. And now we're going to save and run our export. And this is going to take a minute or two. We have about 5,000 exports to, we have about 5,000. So this is going to take a minute or two to run. We have about 5,000 orders to export. So we'll let it go and we'll come back when it's finished. All right, so the export is complete. So let's go ahead and download our CSV. We'll open this up. And there it is. Our export is completed. Now let me open this up in a text editor so we can see the CSV part of it. Now here it is. Here's the CSV, right? So every column is separated by a comma, right? And some of this content over here might actually have a comma in it. So the way we get around that is it wraps it, when necessary, it wraps it in these quotes, right? So that's what you'll see. And you can actually have multiple lines on these. So if some of these cells had line breaks in them, that whole cell would be wrapped in these quotes, and then the whole sheet would be messed up. But a piece of spreadsheet software like Numbers or Excel would be able to read it properly. Now let's go ahead, let's rerun our export, but let's change the delimiter. So we'll go down here and we're going to change this to pipes. So we'll update our template and we're just going to run this again. And again, it'll take a few minutes. We'll just let it run and come back when it's finished. All right, so let's go ahead and download our CSV. And you can see here, these are now separated by pipes. So you can set the separator for your CSV to be pretty much anything you need, which is pretty useful. That's all it takes to export WooCommerce orders to CSV using WPL export. Check out our channel. We have a ton more content on importing and exporting data with WordPress. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.